Hi Rick, sorry about that, mate. I don't know if we'll get anybody back. Lee, I'm gonna say, Mac. Or I went for a brew. Yeah, I do apologise about that, guys. I don't know whether that was down to weather related or what, but basically, it froze at my end, and then I lost all data feed completely. So what we've been chatting about up until that point is going to be, yeah, basically it's going to be a two-part video for this Sunday night if you want to watch it on catch up. Um, yeah, sod's law, isn't it? What can you do? I do apologise, but yeah, we've got quite extreme weather conditions out there. There's a lot of electricity floating around in the atmosphere, and again, yeah, we do technology. Oh, I'm glad you didn't all run away. That's brilliant. Right, so yeah, weather mate. Right, so anyhow, so that was water. Okay, that was water. Food, I will cover next week. Otherwise, it gets a bit long-winded. Okay, I'll cover food next week, and then I will go into research and preparation, politics, customs, route planning, essentials, conflict management, which I've got to rewrite, and building kit. And that basically is my little manual. And that's something I put together over many lessons, and I've again, a lot of that isn't necessarily mine. I'm no genius. A lot of that is taken from other people, sitting in on other people's lessons, listening to other instructors. And there's always somebody out there going to go, "Oh, you're just taking other people's ideas." No, that's how the world works. I wasn't the first guy to figure out that you could use nettles as kindling. Okay, I wasn't the first guy to figure out how to purify water or make fire. All I do is I share what I've learned from other people, pass it on, add my little bit, or take a bit away. That's how we do. Yeah, if I published it, I'll be honest with you, late. Yeah, if I published it, it's probably only going to be 20 pages. It's only what I've tried to do over the years is pare down information to what is essential. Um, and I've got a theory that, and as I keep saying, practice. So I'll give you the direction, and then you take that and take yourself where you want to go from there. As for publishing, I've got no idea how you publish something or what goes into that. Um, but again, it's true, true. Um, I mean, publishing. What would we call it if I published it? Um, God, what could I call it? Mad Mickey's memoirs. Uh, Survive or not survive, your choice. Hampshire Hog Hunter's Bible. There, maybe even there, maybe even there. But if I was going to do that, Lee, if I was going to write the Hampshire Hog Hunter's Bible, then I would be asking people to contribute. Because again, if I was going to call it the Hampshire Hog Hunters Bible, I'd want all the hog hunters to throw their pieces in. So the idea would be set out the chapters and then everybody, throw in a paragraph here and there. Custom sheaths. Right. There's going to be a lot of people not like me saying this. Right. Ian, do it yourself, mate. Okay. I'm going to get screamed at. I can hear there's certain leather workers out there screaming and shouting. Okay, leather working. I promise you, it is in actual fact quite simple. It's a time and practice thing. make your own. There's nothing more satisfying than making your own sheath. And there are hundreds of really good leatherworking tutorials out there. Really good. The tools and equipment that you need for leatherworking are quite simple. Okay. Oh damn! I'll dig them out. They are quite simple, honestly. They're needles, thread, and punches. Okay, and you can buy. Let's see if I've got them. Oh, dear. No, I haven't. I put them away. I had a big sort out the other day. Right, so the punches basically are timed punches. They've got set fingers, gaps in them. So if you take two pieces of leather and fold them over, line your pieces of leather up, mark it up, and you punch through, and that makes the holes for the sewing. You then use a good quality cordage, and you can find on the internet or on Amazon and that, you'll find the cordage in whatever colour you want. You can even buy the leather, okay? And then the sewing technique itself is so simple. The only thing you'll want to make for yourself to do it is a leg vise, and that is literally two pieces of wood held together by either a G-cramp or even a pair of large mole grips will do it. And all they do is two pieces of wood that come together and pinch your leather so that you have your seam held parallel, and then you can sew, because you actually sew across itself all the way through. Honestly, have a look on the internet and give it a go, mate. You won't. There's nothing more satisfying. You make your own sheath, and at the end of the day, you can always look back at that and go, "I made it." All right. It is quite a simple thing, and like I say, I can hear people out there now screaming, "Yeah, that's it." It's very therapeutic. It's quite simple. The technique is not difficult at all. It's been done for thousands of years. I did it out of desperation. Initially, in fact, I've got the first sheath I ever made up there. There we go. Okay. And there are many tutorials up there. And I tell you what, I made that literally in an afternoon. And yes, it could have been finished better. The rivets, literally, there's all sorts of special tools that you can buy. But to be honest with you, even the poppers and that, the tools setting those and buying the poppers and the materials and the cordage and everything there probably cost me no more than about £4 or £5 to make that. Okay. And I was able to make it to fit the knife to what I wanted. And then add in things like ferrocerium rod holders and other bits of kit like that. Have a look into it, my friend. Honestly. And then the amazing thing is, once you've made one for yourself, the amount of other people that will come back to you and go, "Oh, make me one." Okay. And then when you have a look online and see what you can be charged for a sheath, a handcrafted sheath, it's brilliant. Okay, so it's cookery style. So your problem is you've got the leaf shape on the blade. Okay. Now, if you have a look at the cookery sheath used by the Gurkhas, it's a wooden inserted sheath. Okay, so it's the width of the blade. If you look at a lot of other sheaths, they're for cookeries and things like that. They're what you call a dropout sheath. So the sheath comes further up the handle and has a locking system here, and the stitching only comes up sort of 1/3 of the blade. So you release the clip there, and the knife comes out that way. Okay, and it comes out the sheath that way. But again, there are tutorials for doing that online. And honestly, mate, it's winter months quite often. Before I started doing YouTube, I've got a very low attention span, and I have to be doing something. or I get into trouble. I can tell you, I need to keep myself busy. And so I was making knives with blacksmithing, and I was like, oh, leatherworking. But as a nipper, I learned to sew, as we all did, fix my jeans, fix my bits and pieces and that. And I just went, do you know what? Let's give it a go. All right. Yeah, it's a little bit of practice. It can be a little bit fiddly. It's not impossible. Right. And there's so much satisfaction in it, so much satisfaction. You can even get templates. You can buy the templates for making wallets, making sheaths, making all sorts. Right. Watch the videos. Good quality glue. Okay. When I say good quality glue, yeah, it's the glue brands that we've all heard. I'm not going to say their name online because apparently there's people out there go fill bags with the stuff and sniff it. But it's that one, yeah. Contact adhesive. And the cordage, the needles, and everything else, it's so easy to get, and then it's practice, as with all things. But it's really satisfying. And I'll tell you what, you go from that, you start making pouches, you start making your lighter kit. The next thing you're doing, you're making bags. Yeah. Duct tape. Go with duct tape. I did a bit with Kydex. Okay. I made a few Kydex sheaths and that. I don't like them because it's a hard plastic. I did a sheath for, or a holster for somebody as well. And again, that was once I looked into it, that wasn't too hard to do. But yeah, honestly, mate, have a go yourself. Look at leather tutorials. Yeah, it's so simple. It's so simple. And then you can get into fancy stuff like using different coloured threads. So I've got one of the threads I've got. It changes colour all the way through. And I was making little big lighter holders out of leather on just putting a little clip on them. And I was in the bike club then, so I was making them out of this different coloured threads and stuff. And people were like, oh, that's amazing. But you know what? I was doing it more to stop myself getting bored. Something to do. I sit in front of the TV with the clamp between my legs, sewing away quite happy, watching the TV. So it is quite a pleasurable thing to do. Well, that's bloody typical, isn't it? You can tell I was a bit stressed there. I can put that one out. I lit the wrong end of my cigar. I thought that wasn't burning too well. Getting bits in my mouth. Yeah, so have a go at that, mate. Honestly, it's one of those things I'm not going to do a tutorial myself because I'm not that sort of way inclined. But I learned from just watching other people on YouTube. The leather and the materials, literally everything you can buy online. Okay, everything you can buy online. Top tip, I'll give you the first couple of ones I made. The Amazon packaging, the thin cardboard packaging, I literally used that as a template. Cut, folded, marked it, and all the rest of it. Even stamped it. Did like a couple of practice stitches in it to see how that went together. Because again, if it doesn't work, you can just bin it. And when I found one that I liked, I just cut the stitches where I made sort of my dummy one, folded it all out, used that as a template for cutting the leather. What I will say to you with cutting leather, you want ideally, when you're cutting leather, rather than cutting sort of like we do most cuts towards you like that, you actually run into the leather. So when you're cutting leather, because of the grain on the leather, you actually slice that way. So try and find yourself something with a good curved edge, as fine as you can get it, and hone it. And mark your leather out and then cut it with that. That was just something that took a little bit. it works out that when you're trying to pull it towards you, it tends to roll the leather up. Pushing it away, it stretches the leather out, and you get a cleaner cut. It's just one of those tips. Yeah. And there's a knife you lot haven't seen. And I was over the moon because when I went back to my trailer this week and I cleaned it out, I found something in there that I've had for a few years. That was this was given to me by a Sami woman in Norway. I actually went to the Sami shop and bought it, but lovely Sami lady who explained to me that these they make through the winter months. They make these, and then in the summer months they come into places like Bergen in Norway. They open their shop and they sell them. And it's that. And that is a traditional, because I said what I want is what you would use, a Sami puukko. Okay. I don't want something that's made for a tourist, that's big, fancy, and all the rest of it. What is a working knife for you guys when you're in the forest and you're working with the reindeer and that? And that is a puukko. And that has reindeer bone and reindeer antler in the handle. It's a very simply finished knife. It's just peened over on the end. The blade is a carbon steel, which has been etched. That is actually an etching on it. And unfortunately, where it had been in the trailer for a while, it's actually picked up a little bit of damage just there, which I will repair in the next week or two. And then I'll re-etch it, and I will show you. I say to these people, so how do you etch your steel? And she went, oh, it's easy. We put it in an onion. Okay, yeah, onion etching of carbon steel. Okay, works. And the sheath for that is made that way. Now this sheath has a wooden insert here. Okay, but one of the things I like about a lot of the Northern European knives and sheaths is they come up a long way, so that put it the right way around. The handle's actually designed to be the catch, and you've just got what you need to pull out. Danglers are very popular with them, and again, the reason a dangler is very popular with them is because the weight of the knife keeps it in that position, stops it from turning over and falling out. But yeah, lovely little knife. And again, you don't need anything much bigger than that for a lot of tools and a lot of jobs, especially when you're preparing game or you're working game. And it was an interesting thing in the conversation when we were talking about preparing game. And she said, oh yes, you understand the finger. And I was like, eh? Okay, that. Okay, which gives you, again, as I've said on other videos, it gives you just enough and a stopper. So you're not penetrating the gut of an animal that you're cleaning. If you're just taking the skin off and you're having to section the skin out, especially on something with a tough skin, you're not going too deep. It's a finger rule, and that's why one of the reasons that blade's that short. So yeah, little finish. Finish puukko. Sami people, wonderful people. Deer hide is a lovely leather to work, but it's quite delicate. So you want a birch bark. That one there is reindeer hide, which is a little bit thicker. Leather comes in grades, comes in thicknesses. To be honest with you, with a lot of the stuff I've done, what I did was bulk bought what they call the off-cut patch leather. So it's come out of I'd say one of the best ones, the motor industry. A lot of the high quality leather seats for cars are very, very good quality leather. Sofas and that, not so much. Although I have been known to hack the back out of a sofa that the neighbour was getting rid of because it had a nice bit of leather on it. Ian, tell your wife from me, I apologise. It's my fault. You blame it entirely on me. I've got your back, mate. Not a problem at all. In actual fact, share it with your wife. She'll probably find it quite interesting and quite fascinating. Caroline does. My Mrs. Cass, she does. So when doing things like that, she finds it absolutely fascinating. In actual fact, I get her to help me do the research. Okay, because again, when you're looking at techniques, it's that old two brains and four eyes is definitely a lot better than one. And occasionally, when I'm sitting there and I'm trying to figure out how to do something, it's, I'm battling away, and I'm battling away, and she'll just say, well, actually, do you know what? Maybe if you do it like that, and it helps. It helps. Yeah, I was, yeah, and it's all practice. All practice. It's the way to go with it. And in 10 years' time, mate, when you're making sheaths for a living and you become world famous for your sheaths, you can say, "There's a guy called Mick," she said to me, "Go make your own." Well, that's okay as long as your Mrs. Lee gives you the space to do it. And if she does, brilliant, brilliant. Oh no! Cheers, Kaz. Yeah, as again, it's like with the channel here. So Kaz is downstairs, and she's my moderator, and she's watching this. And like she said there, I've had a disaster and flaps. I'm gonna say good. I'll sit here and rabbit away. But she's the one behind the scenes. She's the one that's watching things and going, "Oh, Mike, you need to do this. Mike, you need to do that." Point me in the direction to go. Cheers, mate. Cheers. And that's, yeah, I do appreciate all the likes, and I do appreciate all the comments as well. I can't tell you all how much I appreciate the comments. The support from Mac and the Hampshire Hog Hunters is immense. And like I say, you're all part of this. Let's all try and build it up. 10 years from now, we'll be world renowned. World renowned. You'll all be experts, and I'll be able to say to people, well, yeah, I'm going to speak to Ian. Ian, so how's the sheath making going? Well, we've hit 15 million now, so, going well. So, and Lee, how's the missus? Oh, she's still ignoring me, mate. Yeah. Where do I want to go? Where do we want to do next? What would I like to do this week? I don't know. What shall we do this week? I don't know, Mac. What do you fancy doing this week, mate? Oh yeah, it'd be virtual reality. We'll all be sat at yeah. When it comes to the point, technology gets us to the point we'll have our own virtual reality bar, complete with virtual reality doorman. Right? We'll all be sat in big leather chairs. There's yes, served virtual beer or virtual cigar. Hey. AI. Okay. There we go. Artificial intelligence. Always scared of artificial intelligence. Does it worry us? I'm not scared of artificial intelligence. Okay. I got one advantage over artificial intelligence. That's I've got the ability to disappear into the woods. I don't think it's ever going to turn out like Terminator. I don't think the machines are going to come and hunt us. And even if they did, okay, we're human beings. We adapt to our environment. Yeah, there we go. So that will be this week. We're going to do, me and Mac will go do an overnighter with the Lavu, and we'll do a few different scenarios covering light at night and light signatures. So, and that's aimed for anybody that's looking at stealth camping or just getting out there and wants to make the most of it. Because again, when you think about your light signature, you've got to look at how it affects not just you, because you by changing your light signature to things like red light, blue light, and green light, it affects the wildlife around you. Okay, so I've spent many an hour with a red light watching badgers, foxes, deer, and that, and they have no idea I'm there because their eyes don't pick up on it. Okay, so you can use red light for that sort of thing. Yeah, red is the best. It's absolutely fantastic, and yeah, we know that, and anybody that's been military knows about using red light. But again, in this channel, one of the things is new people to it, people that don't have that experience, young people. It's sharing that information, getting it out there to them. We're not in a sneaky beaky world. We're not creeping around behind enemy lines and stuff like that. We're out enjoying the countryside and the environment, share the technology and the ideas. The Lavu shelter, we'll get out a couple of Lavus. I'll demonstrate what I was talking about on the video this week. I'll set us up so that we got our cooking and admin area between us. It's a wonderful way of doing it. Definitely Polish military shelter wise, they were leaps and bounds ahead of us. And I just think it's a shame that you can't get a modern version of the Lavu using today's technology. Because I tell you what, a Lavu made in modern materials would be an absolutely awesome piece of equipment. Especially when I was saying about the other week, if you could make a Lavu or DD tops, DD, if you're out there and you ever see this, make a Lavu, okay, and put a thermal liner on the inside. Yeah, that's their only problem. They're heavy, but if you made it out of a ripstop nylon, like the military top, but on the inside, put a thin thermal layer, a reflective layer, whether it's a treatment in the material or whether it's like a secondary mylar sheet to reflect heat back in. Brilliant bit of kit. Obviously, the downside of that is one of the bonuses with the Lavu is being canvas. You can hot tent it, but again, how often do you hot tent? Wonderful piece of kit, and again, it's a multi-use piece of kit. So it's a rain cape, it's a stretcher, it's a shelter, and it will shelter you from almost any condition. So again, it's that playoff. Do I carry, if I'm out in the winter, I'd rather have the Lavu and have a multiple layer system that will protect my body from the conditions. If I'm going away and I'm doing a long period camp, and it's going to be in changeable weather conditions, is it worth me packing the weight of the Lavu out and then setting up a semi-permanent shelter where I could put a stove system into it, where it's going to keep out snow, it's going to keep out rain, it's going to trap body heat, and that it's going to be a bit more resistant to wildlife as well. So again, it's you've got to find those balances. It's down to what you need and what you're intending to do. If you're doing an overland hike, then possibly no, it's not the way to go. But if you're going hunting or you're going into a set scenario in the woods, you're looking at setting up one base camp, maybe moving it a week later. Yeah, I'd definitely go with it. It's worth the wait. Definitely worth the wait. Yeah, definitely for winter. Awesome bit of kit in the winter. Absolutely brilliant piece of equipment in the winter. That canvas, and again, people say, "Me, oh, canvas is it breathable?" It's very breathable. The great thing with canvas being that it's a natural material, the weave's very tight on it. So sometimes in the summer, if you've got it set up and it's a really warm, dry period, and you suddenly get a little bit of rain, you'll get a little bit of weepage on the inside in the first sort of 10, 20 minutes. But then the canvas itself soaks up the moisture, expands and closes the weave up, becomes absolutely impervious to water. Plus, you can treat it as well. You can treat it with waterproofing agents. You can also treat it with insecticides to keep insects out, keep them off, and deter them. Yeah, it's a brilliant bit of kit. I mean, and talking of insects, again, it's summertime. Some of you guys are going out there. Some of you guys might be new to this. Top tip for you when you're in your shelter at night: don't wear a head torch to read by. Because what you're doing, you're drawing all the insects to that torch, and it's going to be right in front of your face, and they go, "Oh, yummy, 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 yummy." If you really don't like them and it's safe for you to do it, yeah, tea light. Set up a tea light somewhere, and then you get two bits of satisfaction out of that. One is you get a little bit of light. You can sit and watch. It's very therapeutic, and also every now and again there's a little. There's something satisfying about watching a mosquito crash and burn. If you're going to use a light, set it up away from you, and it keeps the bugs away from you. Most mosquitoes and blood-sucking insects, they're drawn to carbon monoxide, which you're breathing out. So again, you're giving that off, and you also give off pheromones in your sweat, which draw them in. Permethrin, yes, lovely stuff. Yeah, Dog Dad did a video on that. I think it was this week. Or was it last week? That was a very good video. Very, very interesting. It's I use DEET quite a bit, and I also use. Who's got it here? I've used it for years. Expel. That's one I quite like, and I like it in the aerosol. Works nice. Don't squirt it straight into your face. Does sting, but yeah, it's an effective insect repellent. Another thing is they use natural methods. Citronella candles or anything citrus based, that tends to repels the little buggers. Yeah. Right. As Max just said, citronella candles. That tends to keep the little swines off of you. And garlic. Eat plenty of garlic and onions. Any of the allium families, eat plenty of that. That keeps the buggers off. Yeah, smudging, that works. Nice smoky fire. That'll keep the little swines away. Nice thing with permethrin as well. Used around your ankles. Don't forget to do around your ankles and do your boots with it. Because that'll help keep ticks at bay. And if you're in a very wet environment, it also helps to keep the leeches at bay. Yeah, they don't like it. They don't like it, mister. No booze. Definitely no booze. No alcohol. Yeah, they love that. They love that. And if you've got a high sugar content in your diet, they also like that as well. And another one, fun enough, is bananas. Okay. Don't eat bananas if you don't want to get zapped by mosquitoes. I can't remember which of the chemicals it is in the banana, but yeah, that tends to bring the mosquitoes in. At one point, some of the British forces weren't allowed bananas in their diet in tropical climates, purely because of that. Oh, dear me. Anyhow, right, so I'm running out of wind now. Potassium. That's the bugger. Potassium in the bananas. Yeah. It tends to absorb them. Again, or get yourself a mate that smokes a cigar. Sit downwind of him. Yeah, there's been a lot of problems with ticks just lately. And of course, ticks. Ticks. There's 3 or 4 different nasty diseases passed by ticks, one of which is Lyme's disease. They got a hemorrhagic, I can't remember, hemorrhagic, whatever it is. But yeah, put it like ticks. Get them out. Okay. Now, what tends to happen with a tick, don't panic if you find a tick on you or your dog. They're not an issue to start off with. What they tend to do, though, is they regurgitate when they fall off. That's where they tend to cause the biggest problem. Oof. So, nasty. Farnham Heath, woman and a kid with about 10 to 15 each, nasty. Yeah, so if you get ticks on you, get them off. Use a tick puller. Lots of old wives' tales about hitting them with cigarettes and stuff like that. It wasn't ticks that you hit with a cigarette, it's a leech. That makes the leech let go. Yeah. Get yourself a good pair. I've got one in my first aid kit, a little pair of tick pliers or twick teasers. Get hold of them, twist them, lift them out. A little bit of antiseptic cream or gel on there. Give it a wipe, or even if not an antiseptic wipe, just wipe the area down afterwards. Little swines. If you start getting any fluey or any shivers, any muscular aches within 28 days of having a tick on you, as soon as you notice it, go straight to the doctors and explain to them you've had a tick on you and you've now got flu-like symptoms, aches and pains, so they can get on to treating you for the illness. I was very unfortunate. Must have been about 1985, 86, working in forestry. And I was working along a canal, and we were taking trees out, and I see this little shrew, this little bankfold shrew, mouse, rat. Well, not a rat, just a little shrew type thing. And I thought, oh, poor little bugger's going to get squished there. See him running around this hollow where we'd taken the tree out. I thought, oh, just took him out, flick him into the undergrowth and let him go, poor little bleeder. I put my hand in, went to flick him out. The bastard bit me on the finger. I thought nothing of it. Right? It hurt like hell. It was a hell of a bite. For the size of the animal, it was fucking agony. Excuse my language, but it was bloody painful. Flicked him out, thought nothing of it. Middle of summer, about 4 or 5 days later, I start going down with flu-like symptoms, and I'm thinking, I don't feel too good. Got to the point where I couldn't go to work because I was feeling that rough. And then got up one morning and my eyes had gone yellow. My skin was changing colour. It was going yellow. And I was like, this ain't good. And my initial thought, having a little bit of medical training, was how much paracetamol are you taking? I haven't taken too much paracetamol. So I went to see the doctor and I had leptospirosis. And because it's a waterborne disease passed on through rat's urine and other rodents. And I got bit by a shrew, picked up leptospirosis. And that was off to the hospital, put on a drip, massive doses of antibiotics, and felt like crap for about 6 months. Well, Lyme disease that's a terrible disease. It's horrible. There's all sorts of theories about whether they can cure it or whether once you've had Lyme's disease, it's going to affect you all your life. It sets up all sorts of, it triggers lots of other things and deaths, but it triggers all sorts of other problems in the body, from arthritis through I can't remember the name of it now. Kaz knows what I'm talking about. Fibromyalgia and things like that. All sorts of nasty problems it can help trigger, as well as the disease itself. But again, it's one of those things. If it's caught in time, it's treatable. But it's you don't realise you've got it until it's too late. Something we always have to be very aware of with deer management is ticks. Anywhere you've got deer, you'll get ticks and old grass and that. So again, if you've got a tick on you, get it off and just be aware. Just keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on the bite. If you see a ring of red forming around that bite anytime within the next few weeks, straight to the doctors. Straight to the doctors. And again, with any bite from any insect, any animal at all. Oh, Jesus. Oh, your missus has it. Fucking hell. Been treated for it, I take it. Treated for it, managing it. Any bite, any sting, any cut, any wound, where you suddenly, or after it, you start getting pains anywhere that you've got lymph nodes, straight to the doctors. Okay. It's because the other one that not a lot of people consider, and it's out there, but they changed the name, and because they changed the name, so when I was a kid, the big thing was, you used to hear it all the time, blood poisoning. Oh, you don't want blood poisoning? Don't want blood poisoning? Definitely don't want blood poisoning. Yeah. That's a terrible disease. I mean, Lee, my heart goes out to your missus. That's absolutely fibromyalgia. That's it's a pain. That's just a horrible thing. And for years, they turn around and said, "Oh no, there's no such thing as fibromyalgia." In fact, there's even doctors now that go, "Oh yeah, no, it exists." I know people with fibromyalgia. It's terrible. Yeah. Keep covered. It's the old rule, isn't it? Just keep covered and check yourself. And if need be, get your mates to check you. You know, if you think you've got a tick on your arsehole, excuse my language, and I apologise to anybody out there. You think you've got a tick or something on your arsehole, it doesn't feel right. Yeah, don't be embarrassed. Turn around to your mate, bend over, and say, "What's that?" You know. Yeah, it's absolute agony. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can relate partially to that. For one of my sins is about once every 2 to 3 years, I suffer with shingles. And that's how I describe that to people. People say to me, "So what shingles feel like?" And I normally get it across my chest and my back. And the only thing I can describe it as is like being on fire. It is all the nerve endings are firing as if you're actually burning. The absolute agony. The only way they can treat it in me is they give me very, very major painkillers to try and deaden the nerves. And then it can go anything. I've had it for where it's just lasted a week or two to where it's lasted 6 months. The last major attack I had got me to the point one afternoon where I had to have paramedics come in and pretty much put me on gas and air until I could breathe properly and relax. Just absolute crippling agony. So I can relate to that feeling, and my heart goes out to a mate. And that shingles is any of you that have ever had chicken pox. Yeah, you're going to suffer shingles at some time in your life. Unfortunately, it's carried by the same virus, and the chickenpox virus never leaves the body. it goes dormant at the base of the brain. And normally at times of stress could be one of the triggers, or it just decides that's it's flaring up. And what it does, it inflames the nerve endings. Yeah, well, Kaz has got arthritis. I can understand that. I know I suffer a little bit. A couple of my fingers are starting to get a little bit sort of wonky, and the joints are starting to swell. Hence, I'm giving up the blacksmithing purely and simply because I can't do it anymore. It just guts me really, because it's something I got so much pleasure out of, but I can't work the hammer anymore. And if I spend an hour on the hammer for a week afterwards, I'm in so much pain with my hands. It's just not worth doing. Not worth doing. So I'll be setting up the forge in the next. I'm determined to do. This will be my last season. There's a couple of little projects I want to get out of the way. There's something I'm making for a friend's wedding present. So I'll be pushing through with that, and that will be my swan song. I think that item I'm making for him. But it comes. Move on, adapt. So if there's any of you guys out there looking at setting up a forge or do blacksmithing already, I want some gear. There's a complete setup that will be coming up for sale probably in the autumn, and yeah, get it started if you want to get started, or if you want a new set of equipment. Can do. Yeah, well, it's like a lot of things. They see with medicine, no two bodies are the same, are they? What will work for one won't work for another. I had treatment for carpal tunnel syndrome on this hand, and the doctor that did my carpal tunnel treatment said to me, he said, you are aware this only works in 60% of people. And I sort of, well, no. And he said, no. And the other 40, it can lead to nerve damage, tendon damage, which may restrict your use of your hand. But luckily enough, I went ahead with it, and I was okay. But yeah, no two people are the same. And the same thing with arthritis. I know people with arthritis that the joints of their fingers and their hands are massively, distended and swollen and out of shape. And I don't have too much trouble with it. And then you get somebody else like me. I've got very, very little swelling in the joints, but absolutely agony if I go do anything like hammering. Kaz, poor hands, yeah, hell of a mess. It's really painful for her. Yeah, the arthritis is a terrible, terrible thing. But again, what I do admire in her, and I admire in anybody that suffers those things, is how they handle it. They get on with life. They get two choices. It's one, yes, they can sit there and say, I'm absolutely in agony, but they still keep putting one foot in front of the other and going on. Yeah. It's a horrible thing. Horrible thing. Anyhow, I think what I'm going to do, we've got 49 minutes on this one. I think we had near, what's the time? So we started at 8. Crikey, it's 10 to 10. Right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to finish this cigar whilst we all say our good nights. I'm going to finish swigging my cider, which, is a Thatcher's Katie tonight, which is a little bit stronger than I normally have. That's a 7.4. I normally have 4%, and I'll be honest with you, I'm noticing it a little bit. It's gone to my head a bit. But hey, once a week, what's the harm? So me and Mac will be out this week. We will be doing an overnighter in a Lavoo. We will be talking about lighting. Hey, mana. Yeah, have a good one, people. Have a good one. You have an excellent one, my friend. All right. Take it easy. Be good. Love those you do. Forgive those you don't. Please like, subscribe, share, spread the word. Invite your friends. Invite your friends in. Yeah. What can I say? Yeah. Have fun. Be good. Have an excellent week. And may peace and light be upon you all. Yeah. Lee, I'll say a prayer for your missus tonight. Hope she has a good week. Rick, cheers, mate. Sorry about the nightmare with YouTube in the middle, but hey, have a good week, my friend. Lee, have a blessed week. Yeah, thank you very much, my friend. Yeah, we'll get that. Ray, I'll be honest with you, mate. I am 57 years old. Okay, and age to me, I've always had the attitude that you're as old as you feel. Okay, and by God, I'm feeling old. No, I say this to many people. Okay, the one thing I've realised as I got older is the physicality may get older. The body may get slower. It may get a little bit tubbier. It might get a little bit slower. It may be a bit more painful. Up there, I'm still 19, mate. Okay, I maybe it's just me, but I've never wanted to grow up. I've realised as I've got older, I've put some of the serious stuff away now, and I just have fun. I start to realise what's important. Experience our age. I don't think age really matters. I really don't think it does. I think it slows us down. It gets more painful. It gets harder to do things. But I think you've got to stay optimistic. I've got a couple of friends that really suffer. I have one that has a degenerative nervous disease that makes his body tremor. Okay, and this guy really struggles with it. Okay, it is one of the most. I find it difficult sometimes for him. I really feel for him because even something as simple as having a cup of tea has to be careful and have half a cup. Okay, you know what? He gets on with it. He just says, "Sod it, I'll get on with it." He gets on with life. He doesn't let it destroy him. He doesn't let it pull him down. He has moments where you can see it hits him a bit, but the majority of the time he says, "Sod it, I'll have a go." Okay, and I think myself blessed and lucky that I don't suffer with the same problem. Okay, so again, when we're sitting there and we're having our moment, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, my knees, my knees do give me hell," right? I then think to myself, "Well, I'm lucky because that'll be gone in a couple of days and I'll be fine," you know. So just deal with it. Deal with it. Deal with it as best you can. Try and look to the good days, not the bad days. Keep smiling. Have your adventures. If you have to moderate your adventures, which, yeah, sometimes through fitness and health, we have to moderate our adventures. Moderate them, but still have them. Okay? All right, Phil. Yeah, moderate them. Have your adventures. Have your fun. If you can no longer climb a mountain, walk a valley. If you can't swim the river, stand on the bridge and just enjoy the view. Sometimes just watching the sun come up or watching the sun go down. Oh, doing your laces up is an achievement. Touching my toes. Seeing my toes is an achievement. Looking down and seeing my toes. It's parts of my body I haven't seen in many a year. And again, be grateful for every moment. You know, It's as much an adventure some days getting up and walking. Yeah, see if coffee in the morning, Phil. It's as much an adventure some days just waking up, stretching out those aches and pains, getting dressed, and going and getting a bit of shopping. It's as much as a challenge as it is as climbing somewhere like Mount Snowdon. Okay, but I'll just look at it as a challenge. Go on with it, face it, and deal with it. All right, guys. Anyhow, that's it from me. I'm going to end the stream there. Stay active. Yeah, stay as active as you can. If you've pushed your body through your life and you've pushed it to extremes, then you have to realise that you're going to pay a price for that as you get old. Okay? Nobody in my generation pointed that out to me. So everything from following tractors around a field as a teenager, baling, chucking bales up for 14 to 18 hours a day, because that was when the weather was fine, and the baling twine ripping through those parts of your fingers there, God, the blisters you used to get in the cuts, but you'd keep going within 2 or 3 days to be fine. So it was doing things like that. It was early life, chainsaw operating as a forester, squatting down with a chainsaw. Right? And when I first went into forestry, I had an old boy turn around to me and he said, "You know what, lad? You'll never see a forestry worker over the age of 40 years old, because every single one of them's back's gone." And I looked at him and I went, "Yeah, but it won't happen to me." It creeps up on us. Will do, mate. I'll have a look at that in a minute. We all act like we were 20. We certainly do, Lee. And the thing is, it's sometimes we just got to slow it up a little bit. We've got to look at it and say, I was still going to do it, but I might take an extra day doing it. Me and Mac, we're off to Scotland later in the year, and next year we're going to be doing the West Highland Way. That's a hell of a schlep, right? We're going to be self-sustaining on that, so we'll be carrying most of what we need on our backs. Both sat down, talked about it, both at the same age, both of the same backgrounds and experiences, and went, "Do you know what? If people are doing it in 9 days, that gives ourselves 12 to 14. There's 2 reasons behind that. One, it's not about doing it, it's about the adventure along the way. And 2, what's the point in killing yourself? Exactly that, Mac. Exactly that. The old machine can only do so much. Yeah. So, adapt to it. Still have the adventures. Right? Still enjoy it every day. Right, I'm waffling now. That's partly the cider. That's partly because it's been a very, very long week. And I'm fairly knackered. So at this point, I will say to you all, God bless. Take it easy. All right, have fun. Yeah, it wasn't just the boxing, was it? We'll keep that amongst ourselves. Been for any kebabs lately, mate? Oh, fuck me. Fractured spine. Lee, that's going to be a painful one. I'll speak to you in the morning, mate. Right, Lee, I've got to go, mate. And I will be brutally honest with you. And again, it's another thing that comes with age. I've been swigging cider. I'm halfway through the bottle, and there's part of me that's going, "You need to go away. You need to go away." So anyhow, love you and leave you there. Guys, take care. Be good. Love you all. Look forward to speaking to you next Sunday. Video will be out for Friday as per normal. Well, I say Friday. Friday's at the latest. I normally try and get them out for Thursday night. But if not, it'll be Friday. Take it easy. Have a fantastic week, and I will catch you all next week. Thank you so much for joining us on our journey. This is Mickey. Mickey out.